Okay, so I just imported the FBX in. I went to File, New, um, Select, LightFixture. I hit OK. I left 2048 is fine. I have a pretty powerful computer. Let's start dropping some materials on this guy. So I'm in the Smart Materials section, and I'm going to type in steel. And we're going to start with this part first. And let's do steel rust. Now the next thing I'm going to do is grab this tank material and drop it on top. And I'm going to get rid of dust. So that gives me a sort of a nicely worn edge here. You know, it's sort of blending between the two. And you could adjust sort of these different colors. So here's my base. So we can go with more of like a, let's see, whatever kind of paint that you're looking for. So I sort of wanted it more of a gray than the green. And I'm really just focusing on this right here and this top part. So maybe something more like this. All right. Now the next thing I want to do is actually, let's do this. Let's go to plugin. I'm sorry, view reset UI so that we're all in the same, seeing the same thing here. And let's go to big textures, and let's just bake this out. Alright, so now you'll notice that it changed it a little bit because now it's using my curvature map instead of just the image itself, which is what I want. So let's go ahead and on our top layer here, this is a blank layer 1, I'm going to add the light map. So add filter, and then under filter here, baked lighting, and let's increase our edge intensity, our edge smoothness, and then let's make sure that this is marked as pass through so we can see that. So we should get a little bit more going on here. And I'm just going to kind of increase all of this stuff, like it doesn't seem like it actually selected my map. It looks like it baked it from this object, but sometimes I could just get better results if I just select the object itself. Let's go a little bit higher too. Well, 512 is really low. So I'm going to rebake it and pause it. And you can see I got a little bit better, more of the edge intensity showing up. So if I increase that, you can see, and I'll smooth that out a little bit more so we get the rim light. And my AO is showing up a little bit. So sometimes you kind of have to see how much more pronounced the ambient occlusion is in there. Alright, next thing is, let's go ahead and mask. So I'm going to throw a mask on this. And in this thing, I'm going to hit 4. And I'm going to mask out the light bulb. Oops, let's go all the way to black here. And I also want to mask this guy out here, because we're going to make a opacity layer there for the glass. If we want to, let's go ahead and add a blank layer and then just fill that with, oops, let's do that again. Blank layer, put it below it, and then actually let's add a fill layer. There we go. And just so visually we can see something that resembles the light. Alright, so back on our tank paint, I'm going to go ahead and add another generator. And then I want to add MG metal edge. And we want to invert this mask because it got rid of all of the paint. Now we're going to have to add that paint layer to really get that glass off. Alright, so I'm going to increase the wear level just a little bit. Now let's go back up to tank paint and add another generator. Now I want this generator to multiply or intensify the one below it. So then I'm just going to go ahead and add a, let's do dirt. And you can see here that dirt layer on top is multiplying the effect. So we're getting a really nice realistic sort of look for our light bulb or light fixture. Now another thing that's kind of neat is if you look over here on our mask, it's operating off of our curvature and ambient occlusion masks. there's these smart masks which are here. And so, for example, if I wanted to give this more of a feeling like ground dirt, where it'll actually go off of the edge in the world space, which means the space of the object and how it affects it, I can grab any one of these. So, for example, one that I like to use a lot is ground dirt, and that's because it builds off. And what you're doing is you're actually dropping it on the entire layer, and you'll see that it changes inside of the mask there. It's kind of hard to see. And what's nice about if you select the ground dirt map, you can adjust the level here. See that how it goes from the ground up, the amount of wear, which I really love this effect. So especially for lighting, it helps us to build out that intensity, that kind of like bulbed intensity. I'm sorry, you know, like it starts to build around edges from rain, and so the glass below, because it hangs and it falls off, it'll be much clearer. And let's also multiply this effect too, so you can see that what it does is, oops, sorry about that. So what you'll see there is you can either have it build subtly, or if you leave it on normal, it'll build out that intensity. So it's really up to what your preference is, right? So if I just leave it at multiply for now, it can be much more subtle, and then you can adjust the level or the contrast on your own, right? So you can see the contrast between it. Alright, so what I was thinking too is, because oftentimes this is built as part of the light, you know, like I know the light bulb would be kind of screwed inside of this, but let's presume for now that this top part is a different material, just so you can learn about other materials. So let's go back to our smart materials here. And let's grab steel scratches. So something like this. And I'm just going to drop this below that baked layer. Okay, so we've got something like this. And then let's grab a bronze material to mix between them. So let's do with bronze armor. I'm going to just drop that on top. Now something if you might not know is if you click here, you can grab all of these materials if you can't find them. Like if it's not in your substance that you downloaded. And then log in. And they'll be in there. But for now, I'm going to assume that you have. So let's go ahead and add a white mask here. And what I'm going to do is go to particles. This is a good time to sort of show you this. Then grab my burn effect. So with that selected, you can see, here, let's do this a little more subtle. So particles help us, I'm going to hit 1 here so you can see that. They help us to kind of get a more of an organic feel on our brush. So now remember, I have this white mask, and in my grayscale, I'm going to go a little bit towards the black area. And when I go across the surface here, there we go, you can see that it paints this burn particle across the surface. And because I'm doing it on my bronze armor layer here, it's allowing me to see that's sort of like creating this burn mark. And if I go all the way to black, it'll totally expose whatever's underneath it. So you can kind of mix that up depending on how much, you know, like you want this to sort of show through. Now remember, later I'm going to go ahead and mask this out. This is only for our top area here. Okay, so you can get something like this. It travels up. Alright, so let me undo all that. And then what I'm going to do is, with my brush, I'm just using my brackets pretty low, I'm just going to quickly go around and just give it a little bit more of a look here. Let that travel upward. Something like this. Somewhere around the top. Just sort of building out that randomness too. And then again, if you want, you can hit 4 and make sure you're on polygon mode and just get rid of everything underneath it. Same thing here. I'll add my white mask, deselect these two so that we're just focusing on just that top part. Alright, so on our bronze layer on top, I want to use this new burnt texture with a generator. So select it. Let's do MG Metal Edges, which is our guy right here. And then I'm going to invert that because I want to see more of the bronze. And if I added more of a hard edge, I might even do that when I re-export. Let's go ahead and do a paint layer too. So here's a paint layer, and then let's make sure that's on black, hit 4, and get rid of that. Something like this. And MG metal edges, I'm going to multiply that, so it's multiplying the effect. Now I'm going to hit C here. You can see our mask, and what I want to do is I'm switching to this so you can see if I go in here and I add levels, it'll allow me to adjust the intensity of that mask. Okay, we're hitting up our 10-minute mark. So from here, we're actually 11 minutes now, but in the next video, I'll tackle finishing this off by playing with a few different generators that we haven't done in the class.